Hello, hello. Let me see if I can just get these going. I don't need that or not. But can you let me know in the comments if you can hear and see me okay? I see that there's a lot of you there. Hey, okay, perfect. So welcome from beautiful Cairo. And it's funny, I was talking with a few of my clients and I was like, this is the first time they're going to see that I actually have legs. So I was going to show you. Because after I do the raw channeling for the members, after this, I'm going to go down and have a nice dinner. But let me show you my view. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this sideways. So if you get kind of seasick, close your eyes for a second. Oh, it won't let me. Okay, well, we'll keep it this way. So you can see the two gorgeous pyramids behind me. And I have my tarot cards with me. Here's the Eye of Horus. So I thought, we would do a little, digging into things with the power of the pyramids. This is such an energetic place. I can't even, begin to tell you. So I went into the Great Pyramid today, and the energy was phenomenal. The amount of downloads of information that I received, which is why I have to do the channeling after this. I have to. So what took me a few minutes was getting my laptop set up with the internet so I can see what questions you all had for me. But let's see. Let's make sure I'm into YouTube first. And go to community. And thank you for waiting. I know I really do hate to make people wait. I know that's not polite. Okay. So let's see what sort of questions you all had. So can you see that the Great Pyramid is right there? Sometimes that's called Cheops, right? Because Cheops actually meant terrible ruler, right? It meant that Khufu was like a tyrant. And then his son, Khafra, built the other one. And so I did go inside the Great Pyramid. And let me tell you, there are no railings. It was intense. Like physically, it was a bit intense. You got to be steady on your feet. Let me tell you that much. I am staying in the gorgeous Mina house here in Cairo. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful place. But tomorrow I am flying out to Luxor. So that'll be exciting too. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what sort of questions you had. Let me take out my tarot cards. Oh, and I even put the pendulum in there. Who knew? Yeah, of course I'm being safe. It is kind of weird going from a country that's like a real hot spot where, we're all in the middle of the pandemic and things are really tough to go to one that it isn't. But the thing is, you got to be tested before you go in. You got to be tested before you can go back home. You have to be vaccinated. So I don't see how they could possibly make any of this any safer. I don't know. But okay. Not to mention everything that I did was like outside. Okay, so Diane asks, how does it feel being so close to the pyramids? Is the energy palpable? It was interesting, but I have to say, it was when I was inside of the Great Pyramid that I started getting downloads, and they weren't downloads that I was expecting. Because for, most of you know that I'm very connected to the Rock Collective. And that's who I was really expecting to get, and I did. But I was also getting Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, which surprised me. That I was not expecting. Cleopatra also came through when I went to the Sphinx today. And, for all of you taking my star seed class and you're trying to figure out, what is your actual origins? Where do you really come from? Because none of us come from here, right? This planet's too new. It became very clear that Cleopatra is a Lyran. And so I will have to do a channeling of her. Now, is any of you know that's taken my classes, I don't like to channel the dead, because if somebody's that ancient, all you're getting is their sixth density higher self. And so, I mean, they sort of all sound pretty similar, right? Uh, but I think there's a lot of things that we can glean from Cleopatra. So, so thank you, Diana. She says, have a wonderful time. Thank you. I am. It is beautiful. And, the Egyptian people are really very kind, very polite, and very much like Cambodia, where I used to live. They love Americans, right? We're good tippers. We treat people well, I think, when we travel. Okay, so the next one is from Leslie. Uh, let's see. Oh, what is underneath the Sphinx? Here's the thing. I think that's why Cleopatra came through. So don't write to me saying, look, you're talking about different time periods. I already know that. But she's sixth density, just like the angels now. That's where our higher selves reside. So she has that perspective. And first of all, they did find, just so you know, I mean, this isn't me being psychic, this is just me telling you the truth. They did find 3 golden statues in like the under part of the Sphinx, and they all had to do with Horus. And so, which once again has that Ra connection, because Horus has a Ra connection, and they are preserved. They are being taken care of. But I suspect I will be getting more information on that for sure. The original frescoes of the tarot cards, are they still on the walls lining the underground hallways? I mean, maybe. Maybe. Will they be discovered? Here's the thing. So I told you, I hired a private tour guide who's an Egyptologist to take me around. And first of all, he's a wealth of information. And honestly, if anyone's thinking like, oh, you could never afford to do that, it really doesn't cost that much. The pay scale is so different between our countries. And so, he had a lot to say about a lot of these things that you guys are asking. But one of the things that he was saying was every country is helping to like do these like excavations. And it's because the majority of these ancient Egyptian artifacts are underground. Like what we're seeing is like this much of what's actually there. Okay. So we know that most of it was underground. And we also know that the water, the Nile, came right up to there, and that had an impact too. Let's see. So Barb asks, what was the purpose of the pyramids? So the Great Pyramid, and this is what I'm doing a channeling on this evening for my members. And if you're not a member yet and you want to join, you can be a part of it. And if you're not able to watch it live, it's going to be uploaded and put into a playlist. So the purpose of the pyramids, according to the Ra, because the Ra take claim for this one, was to help for healing purposes and for initiation purposes. And my Egyptologist actually backed up what the Ra says, that the top is missing, the apex, that part that is golden and silver. And they were also white. The pyramids were a gleaming limestone. And through the years, the limestone started to fall away, and people started to use them to build buildings and things like that. So yes, I would agree, Barb, with the Ra on that one for sure. Oh, and I see that D Buffy asked the same exact question. How many pyramids are there? There's dozens and dozens, but they also know that there's more underground at the same time. So there is a lot. Okay, so Blue Jean has more of like a political question. Will the DOJ be successful in fighting the draconian Texas YouTube doesn't like me to say the A word. They don't like anyone to say. They have like this list of banned things you're not supposed to say. So you know what Texas did and what they just banned. So you know what I'm talking about already. And reverse it. Okay, so here's the thing. What I got was in the short term, it matters. In the short term, it absolutely matters. This is going to affect people. However, in the long term, it doesn't. So that tells me that something is indeed going to happen. So let's pull some cards on that because I do feel like that's going to be changing for sure. Make sure I get my cards going the right way. I don't know how they got so flipped around. And oh, the reason that I'm doing this so early, everybody, is because it's 6 hours ahead of Eastern time here. And I didn't want you to miss this view because the sun's going to be setting soon. And I just want to say a very special thank you to everyone that donated. I will be taking all the money and giving it to the veterans home. I think we'll do like another big pizza party for them when I get back. Okay, so let's take a look at the whole, Texas situation. Can you hear the birds? I have no idea what these birds are. They're good size though, for sure. Okay, so what do we need to know about the spirit? What do we need to know? Okay, so first of all, they're persevering, and I think this isn't just like, say, individuals, but it's almost like democracy and Roe versus Wade, right? It's persevering, it's hanging in there, but it hasn't gone anywhere, okay? It's not disappeared, it hasn't fallen off the face of the earth. This is a delay, not that any of us like it, but you know what? We as Americans can persevere, right? We do that well. The obstacle. Well, this is to me, because to me, the King of Swords has like this real judicial feel to him because, he has that double-edged sword. Um, Reminds me a lot of the Justice card. This reminds me a lot of the Supreme Court. And so that is indeed the obstacle. Now, let me pull a few cards out. Okay, so there's going to be more research. Okay. People are going to look at ways of how to get around this, because if you can't do something one way, there's another way you can do it. And to me, this is one of my two cards for the US. We will persevere. And the other thing with this card is wishes come true. Keep the faith, keep the hope alive, trust in the universe. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill battle. But then there's this feisty woman, right? Out of all the queens, the Queen of Wands is the feistiest, right? She's spicy. She's enthusiastic. She's passionate. And so there is a woman coming along. And I've often gotten this card for Kamala. But we will have to see on that one, okay? Okay, so let's take the next question. Okay, so oh, Juno says she doesn't expect to see so much greenery. There is greenery here for sure, but I mean, obviously, this is like well manicured landscapes, and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful here. Um, so it's so much masculine energy depicted in Egypt. Yep, with the pharaohs and the obelisks. Are there also prominent feminine energies there? Yeah, and I think this is why I really need to channel Cleopatra because this isn't all masculine. And I wasn't getting an overwhelming sense of masculinity, especially with the Sphinx. So there is something more there. And so I'm going to have to do a channeling session with that for sure. Right, the divine feminine, because you have to remember, the Egyptians had goddesses, right? So it's not all masculine. So a lot of you are asking me questions for the channeling for the Raw Collective. About like the vortexes and ley lines. Of course. Well, I mean, think about it. These line up with the Pleiades, with Orion's belt, right? So these things were not done by happenstance, not by any stretch of the imagination. Um, Crop circles of ET origin, I think some are. I think some are hoaxes, but I think some are. And I think for me, they've always come from the Arcturians, right? Because Arcturians are very mathematical and they love their geometry, and it's encoded with information for us. Okay, so Maggie asks, how and when will the Arizona election audit be fully exposed for the sham that it is? Oh, and it is a sham, isn't it? It is just absolutely ridiculous for sure. Crazy. But let's see. Let's take a look at that one. So the Arizona election audit. What a mess. I mean, that should have never even happened. That puts our democracy at stake, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, look at this. Oh, money was changing hands. Is anybody surprised? I mean, seriously, raise your hand if you are surprised because money was changing hands and this whole sham with Arizona is about the Benjamins. The obstacle is people do not want to allow for transition and transformation. They want to keep the old things alive. And well, you know what? Sometimes old things just need to die so we can move on. But you know what? Take a look at this. It's not going to matter. The American people are going to emerge victorious as leaders, will be triumphant, and it'll just be done and over. And for me, this is Biden. He won. He won already. People need to get over that. But look at what's behind it. Now if you watch my channel, you know who this is. You know who this is. And so we know that he's behind it. And we know that with the help of others, this is why. This is why. Okay. So it all boils down to money. This has nothing to do with democracy or fairness. It has to do with that. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. This was something that I did not know. Just Anne asks, can I read on the plot to take over local election boards and school boards? It's happening everywhere. She lives in a blue state, a blue town, and they're an active and organized presence. Yeah, it's a little bit scary how they're trying to take over on the local levels. It's a little creepy, but let's take a look at looking at what's behind all of it because it's not happening in isolation. It's not just happening in your town or in one particular state. It's something that is becoming more prevalent, unfortunately. But they have an agenda, don't they? This isn't happenstance. This isn't happening by accident. They have an agenda and they want to push their agenda, and their agenda has nothing to do with helping the kids. All right, so let's take a look. So it has to deal with deals and contracts. Okay. People are trying to, say things like, you pat my back, I'll pat yours. And they're trying to strike up some balance so that they can get their personal agendas pushed through. And that to me is what it's about. But you know what? There's Archangel Raphael looking down on over all of this, and it's going to eventually end. The obstacle is these people doing it, they can't go to smoother waters. They can't just leave. They can't just accept things the way they are. And I think they're finding themselves in a world that they no longer fit in because we're moving towards fourth density. We're moving towards our heart chakra. We're moving towards love and unity. And they're going to fight it tooth and nail and be darned if they move and go someplace else where they can be with people like them. They want to Um, they want to change everybody else instead. So I think, I'm not reading this one as they're waiting for their ship to come in. I'm thinking they're going to eventually go. Their backs are turned. They're eventually, because, we have them resisting it, but then we have them going. Okay. Now, I think this has something to, oh, wow, this is interesting. Okay. So to me, this has something to do with the virus, and the virus is going to impact all of this. Okay. So for everybody that pushed their way through into these school boards or even some of these other local town positions, and they really are pushing to get these kids and teachers back in the classroom in the middle of a pandemic with a variant that's targeting, the kids. That's going to hurt them. And then I get my Biden card. And so, you know what? He is still going to play a part, even though this we're talking at the local level. We're not talking about the bigger level. Um, his mindset, people like him are going to be the ones that win out because it's common sense. And then we're in for a new beginning, and it's a powerful new beginning. But that's the thing. So they're resisting this. They're resisting that change, going to, someplace that would suit them better, where they could be with other crazy people like them. But this is what's coming. We're going to have that nice new beginning. This isn't going to last forever, guys, okay? All right, let's see. Oh, people have been asking me if I will be going to Dendera. No, not this time, but I do plan on coming back here. Because if you don't know, that's where the Hathors are channeled. And that would incorporate the divine feminine, wouldn't it? Right? The Hathors. Um, oh, so Mark, congratulations. It looks like your prediction came true that you were going to get a grandbaby on Labor Day. So score one for your psychic abilities. So, so because of like stuff that's going on in your personal life, you're having a hard time, moving and changing personally and as a collective. You're not alone. First of all, you're not alone in that. And you're beginning to truly see and feel less and less distinction between the two. Right, because we really are one. So there is less and less distinction between us as a collective and us as individuals. And there is so much energy moving. You are correct. Um, so what should our community be focused on at this time? The same thing it should always be focused on, which is raising your personal vibration. That is why every single one of you who identify as a star seed, a sensitive, a wanderer, psychic, intuitive, whatever you want to call it, indigo child, rainbow, crystal, there are so many names. You came down here to make the planet a better place. The way you do that is by being the best version of you. Because when everybody's energy is combined as a collective, then we raise the frequency of the earth. And so just try to do what you can when you can. That does not mean that you're gonna save the world, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days, but you do what you can when you can, okay? Oh, so Oompa Loompa, I know the Moo variant. I saw Dr. Fauci talking about that. Yes, that is a huge concern. It's now in 49 states. Will it cause a surge? Yeah, I mean, that's a problem. I'm also worried about the Lambda, which I've talked about in the past. The Lambda does concern me for sure. So let's take a look. But that's the thing. And that's why I say it's not going to be over anytime soon. It's just going to keep mutating. And we have to keep changing the vaccine to keep up with all these new mutations. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the cards are not positive. Biden's really going to have to, yeah, this is going to be tough. So first of all, I think people sort of are waiting for this ship to come in. We're all ready for this break. We're ready for this to be over with, right? We want this to be done. And it just isn't. It just keeps going and going and going. And that's what we're seeing at this moment. But look at the obstacle. Can you see that? That's my card for the virus. That's my card for the virus. So you're asking, is the move going to be a problem? Okay. Um, Biden's going to have to step things up again, just like he did before, and he'll do it again. Um, that's not going to change. However, we do have some drastic changes coming, and these drastic changes are going to test our strength, our courage, our faith, our patience. And we're going to have to forge a new path. We're going to have to do things differently, and we're going to have to figure it out. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because now we have people vaccinated, but for a different variant. And so it's a challenge. I don't envy any of these people, Biden included, that's, having to deal with us. Elflower asks, will Biden help all the immigration people to start their life in the US? Here's the thing. I honestly do feel like this is the wrong time to immigrate because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So he's only one person. And I know that he does, try to have other people help him, right? He's not a one-man army. But at the same time, um, he has a lot to focus on. And if this pandemic's going to do what I'm seeing it do, I think, yes, we have to look at this issue, but we also have a pandemic. So let's see what the cards say. Let's take a look. Okay, so the cards are leaning more towards the children that are being impacted. And so, first of all, the strength card. Yeah, their inner strength and courage is going to be tested. But I think at the same time, the other meaning of this card is patience, right? The way she handles this lion is through gentle, loving patience. So it's going to take a bit of time. And that's what I was feeling. And please understand, I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm saying we're a country in crisis and we're trying to do a million things at once. And I don't even if I was Biden, I don't even know how I would start to prioritize things. I mean, I wouldn't want that job. The obstacle is, well, you're talking about immigrants. Here's the world card. This is not the right time to come here, I think, because we're having a hard time starting a new phase and a new cycle because we're stuck. We're stuck at the moment. But look, I'm getting that this has something to do with children. This is the only card that only has children. So I think we may start to do something more for the children. Okay, so maybe the dreamers, that sort of thing. But look at this, the Justice card, and I'm wondering, King of Wands, could that be Kamala? Could that be Kamala? Because I know she's received a lot of flack for not doing enough, but obviously, nobody wants bad PR, and I think she is trying her best, but that may make her step things up. Okay. So, you know what? Have a little patience, give it a little time. But yeah, it's going to take a bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do something with the children first. Okay. Okay. So let me do one more. Okay. This is a good one. Laura asks, what will this Virgo new moon usher in for us in September? She feels positive energy, but many others are predicting negative occurrences and energy. Yeah, so I'm getting like a real hodgepodge, a real mix of things with all of that. Um, I think that's going to be a bit of a mess. Yes, I think some of it is going to be good, and I think some of it's going to be terrible. Like I've told you before, I think for 45, September is not going to be a very good month for him because it feels so energetic. I also think as this month goes on for the US, particularly for the US. I don't know if I can start naming other countries, so I'm going to stick to the US. They're going to start having issues with the pandemic all over again. So let's just take a look at this month's energy and see what comes up. And thank you so much again, everybody that donated. I really do appreciate all of you. Okay. Yeah, see, and it's just a big old mess. Okay, so yeah, people are going to feel at odds. They're going to feel like they're fighting. They're going to feel like this character where he's just like all alone on a hill fighting. So that tells me, okay, yeah, the energies aren't all good, but they're not all bad either. Okay. I mean, because nothing's ever all good or all bad, right? We can't deal in absolutes. The obstacle, you're going to have a lot of people looking for smoother waters. Okay. So we know that that's not the best to get in the obstacle position. Um, we're also going to be finding something out judicially with big money. Hmm. I wonder who that could be about, right? So I think this has to do with 45. I think there's going to be things that we find out about his family, his organization, and things start stepping it up with court. Um, for me, this has to do with children. It's a page. Children are going to be affected. I think politicians have been paid off to just keep school, keep doing all that sort of thing. And now I don't do reversals, but here's the card of joy and celebration upside down. So, real mix of energies in September for sure. So, yeah, so there you have it, my friends. Because I am on vacation, there could be a point that I turn off comments. And so, if that's the case, please don't be offended, but I don't really have the time if I'm going here, there, and everywhere to like keep control of the comments. So, I just may turn some of them off. Okay. But yeah, don't take it personally. I can always turn them back on when I get back home. All right, everyone. Well, I hope that this was enjoyable, that you got to see this gorgeous backdrop and you got to see, two of the pyramids. And it's such a pleasure doing this with all of you. And for my members, if you could give me about 20 minutes or so, I will come back and I will channel the Rock Collective for you while I have the pyramids right here. Okay. All right, everyone, have a beautiful day. I would say evening, but it's not evening where most of you are at. So, all right, bye, everyone.